I was born in Tacoma, Washington, February 12th, 1935. Our family moved to University Place in 1937.
Where did you go to high school?
Clover Park.
Did you play sports, including golf there?
I played a little baseball, and Harry Lang was our coach, and he said, Dick Wallace was our third baseman, and I was the third baseman. I was kind of in and out there, and he says, Ken, I want you to go to the golf course. So I did. I started caddying at Fircrest Golf Club in May of 1950, but my real downright pro was Aki Eliasson, who ended up being the pro at Allamore Golf Club. He was just, he just believed in me, and in everything that he said, I just took it to the bank, and he was unbelievable.
Did you play on the high school golf team? And
Yeah, I did. Well, I was number one man on the team, and I had a 17 handicap. So we didn't win the state championship that year. But in 1 year, the year later, I went from 17 to 0 in a year. And I did that by hitting about 600 balls a day, and self-taught before I got to Aki. And then I would play 36 holes a day, weather permitting. I turned pro right out of high school. I turned pro on November 16th, 1953. Went to work at Fircrest Golf Club under the tutelage of John Rudy. He was the pro there. And then I worked there for 3 years, and then I got the inspiration. Maybe I should try this game on a little higher level. And then I went down to California, and I played in a few tournaments down there with the big wigs, not on the tour itself. And I finished 6th, 2nd, and 9th. And I thought, my gosh, this just can't be me. Playing with Venturi and Charlie Sifford and Smiley Quick and all those guys. And then in 1960, I qualified. We had 425 guys qualifying for the LA Open. I'm the only one that broke 70 out of 425 guys. Now I get in the LA Open, I shoot 69-71. I'm in third place. I'm ahead of Palmer, I'm ahead of all these guys. But my experience lacked. 83 in the third round. And as I look back on it now, I can see why I shot 83, because I mean, I just didn't have it. I wasn't ready for that pace or that type of the field. I wasn't ready for that. My major professional debut was the U.S. Open in 1958 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at Southern Hills Country Club. Hot. Now, mind you, I've never been north of Vancouver or south of Portland, and it's 100 degrees and 110% humidity. I lost 15 pounds there in 5 days. I shot 85-80, and that's the happiest 85-80 I ever shot, because I was getting, there's no way I could succumb to that weather. I was telling him about my first tournament win. I come to the 18th hole at the Florida Citrus Open. I got a one-stroke lead, and I hit the ugliest second shot you've ever hit. And I've got a shot, I got to go down a hill, up a hill, and down a hill. And something told me if I take a 5-iron into the hill, it would run. If I took a wedge into the hill, it would stop. So I putted for the top of the pinnacle. The ball rolls down about from here to you. I get over the putt, and here's what happens. My hands are jumping all over the putter. I'm saying, my God. So I backed up, and I said to myself, Ken, make sure the putter goes back smooth, because if it doesn't, you're never going to make this putt. Fortunately, it went back smooth, and I knocked it in. And then in that same year, 1969, I needed to finish first, second, or third to make the United States Ryder Cup team. I shoot 74-71 the first 2 days, which was, I was in good shape because I was only 4 strokes behind. Then I shot 67, 5 birdies and 13 pars. And then on Sunday, I had 7 birdies and 11 pars, and I won the tournament by 2 strokes over Gary Player. And I knocked my old friend Arnold Palmer off the team, but it was probably the greatest thrill I've ever had in my profession.
I have to ask you, in light of the purses that are being paid now, what did you get for that first win?
$23,000. Milwaukee was $20,000. I won a playoff with Lee Trevino and Bert Yancey. That was $30,000. Then Gene Littler and I won the CBS Golf Classic. That was $35,000. So those combined probably about 10th place today. Of course, motel rooms in those days were only about 25 or 30 bucks, where they are 250 or 300 today. So everything is kind of relative.
Some of the big names that were on the tour early on that perhaps were responsible for the success of the tour.
Well,
Byron Nelson's,
Byron Nelson's,
and people of that.
Ben Hogan, Sam Snead. Palmer came in the 50s, late 50s. Nicklaus came in early 60s. Tom Watson, Ray Floyd, Gene Littler, Billy Casper. Now, Billy Casper, here's a guy who doesn't get much attention. He won 51 tournaments. That's pretty strong. 2 U.S. Opens and the Masters. And then, of course, Chichi and Trevino, and you can keep going on and on. But
in 1969, you were a member of the U.S. Ryder Cup team. What do you remember about that?
Oh, I remember lots of things. Number one, it was a joy to fly across the Atlantic Ocean and land in London, take a Rolls Royce to Manchester, picked up in Rolls Royce limousines down to Southport, England. And I lost my first match. Trevino and I were partners. We lost 2-1. And Dave Hill and I were partners. We won 2-1. And then on Sunday, I'm 5 down to Maurice Bembridge in my singles match with 6 holes to play. I win 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 to get even with him. Then the last hole's a par 5, and they changed the tee on us. And I said to my caddy, how far is that right bunker? And he said, 275. You can't reach it. Well, he didn't know I was pumped up, I guess, because I put it right in it. I made a par, and he made a birdie. He beat me 1 up. As it turned out, we tied. And if I had come back and at least tied him or beat him 1 up, we'd have won the trophy outright, but we tied, so we retained it because of the previous year when they won the Ryder Cup.
Is the Ryder Cup a special event for a golfer?
I think yes. It's just, it's not one-on-one. It's a team deal. And you have to have closeness here. And Sam Snead was our captain in 1969. And he was awesome.
How long did you play on the PGA Tour?
On the PGA Tour, I played from 57 to 85, and then from 85 to 96, I played on the Champions Tour.
Going back over your career on the tours, where you're out on the road, strange towns all the time, new golf courses, did you have any special friends on those tours?
Oh yeah, I met a lot of people in the different towns we played in, yes. It was, here and there. And you just you play in Pro-Am, and you play with 4 amateurs, and you kind of get acclimated there too. Because I love the Pro-Ams, and in fact, they ended up with the nickname of King of the Pro-Ams. Because I'm a people person, and I love that part of it.
I understand you had a good relationship, especially with Lee Trevino and Chichi Rodriguez. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, I wish I had taken Spanish in high school. Well, Chichi and I, Chichi's sitting on a fence in 1960 at Warwick Hills Golf Club, where I told you we qualified, and I'm putting, and all of a sudden this little Puerto Rican starts talking to me. So we strike up a conversation. We end up traveling together for 5 years. He's a fabulous guy. And then Trevino, I got to tell you this story. Trevino finishes 5th in the U.S. Open at Baltusrol in New Jersey. So the next week, he gets paired with Ken Still and Lou Graham. So we come to the 16th hole on Friday. And he says, what do you think is going to make the cut? I said, looks like about 144. So he deliberately, here's the fairway, he deliberately knocks 5 balls out of bounds. I said, what are you doing? He said, I got to get home to my buddies. I said, I don't want to make the cut. I said, all you have to do is 12 putt the green. You don't have to knock any balls out of bounds.
You participated in what was called the CBS Golf Classic on television.
That was a beautiful event.
Gene Littler was your partner?
Yes.
What was the format on that, and how did it
go? Best ball. It was best ball. I remember the first match we played Bert Yancey and Frank Beard. I'd never been in a TV match before, and I was a little nervous. I hooked my tee shot on the left over into a ditch. But my partner, Gene Littler, made about a 30-footer for a birdie. And that was all I needed. I birdied 7 out of the next 13 holes. The nervousness was gone. And then in the finals, we beat Orville Moody and Miller Barber. And fortunately, I birdied the first extra. We tied after 36 holes, and then I birdied the first extra hole, about an 8-footer. And that was big money. That was $70,000. That was $35,000 apiece.
Littler with a 4-wood in the rough. Everybody with 1 hole determining the difference of $35,000. He's got to get it up over the trees with a 4-wood.
Great shot! Great shot!
Look at beautiful shot. And Still has committed suicide.
Getty Still just applauding. That's worth 50 grand.
Beautiful. Right inside.
35 feet away.
We've got 2 shows here, CBS and Kenny Still.
Now we're going right back to where you kind of started. You're noted for being a great baseball fan. Does that go back to your playing days in high school?
Before that, my father kind of got me racked up in baseball, and I thought maybe at one time I might be a Major League Baseball player, but when I went to the golf course, my fantasy was gone with baseball, and golf entered and stayed.
1973, you signed a contract with the Tacoma Twins of the Pacific Coast League. You put on a uniform, you were in the dugout. Tell us all about that.
Well, Stan Nakarada, who was then the president and general manager, he said, we need to get a little excitement going here. I said, so I signed a contract, $1. And I coached him first base. Cal Irmer was our manager. And I wouldn't have done it, but I have a baseball mind. I still do. And I follow baseball very closely. But I'm going to tell you about this one play. Bob Gorinsky, we had 1 out. I forget what inning it was, but anyway, we had 1 out, and Gorinsky hits one over the third baseman's head, kind of into the left field corner, but not into the left field. And with 1 out, I give him the wave sign. Come on, move it. And he goes into second, safe. And so when we got to the dugout, Cal Irmer says, why did you send Gorinsky to second base on that play? I said, well, number 1, the left field had to go over and grab it, set and throw, and there's 1 out. And I said, no out, I don't send him, but there's 1 out, I'm going to send him. You know what he said to me? I didn't know you were that smart. That's exactly a verbatim.
In your baseball travels, you became good friends with a young kid named Sandy Koufax.
Sandy Koufax, talked to him last week. Sandy Koufax, I met Sandy in Wrigley Field in 1964. And Ray Floyd and Jerry Steelsmith and I went up in the locker room, and they were playing a doubleheader that day. And we went up there, and I walk in, here's Sandy Koufax, 2 feet from me, shake hands with him, and we stayed there the whole 9 innings. And he writes me a letter. He says, you and I should play in the Bing Crosby next year, which we did. And our relationship's still there, 46 years later.
Is it true that he was best manager?
He was best, but he and my brother were both best men, yes. Well, he said, you're getting married, I'll be there. Now, he's been a tremendous friend. And, well, he kind of saved our wedding because my brother bought a TV set to the wedding. And, well, at USC was playing Notre Dame that day, you know. And Sandy says, Linda, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. I didn't get married until I was 52. I met Linda at my mother's funeral. She was the office manager and secretary at New Tacoma Funeral Home. And so I go in her office and make arrangements for my mother's funeral. I go in her office, kiss her on the lips, walk out the door. She says, I don't see much grief here. Well, 3 years later we got married, and I ended up with a great stepson and a beautiful wife.
I'm getting married in the morning. A ding dong, the bells are gonna chime. Kick up a rumpus, don't lose your compass. Get me to the church on time. I'm getting married in the morning.
Ken, you also had an involvement with the American Lake Veterans Golf Course.
That is number 1 right now. I was asked to come out there and join the board. I ain't joining any board. Come on, take a look at us. Well, in 5 seconds I was hooked. When I saw these kids out there that just got back from Iraq and Iran and of course World War II and Vietnam and Korean War, hitting golf balls with some of them with prosthesis hands, prosthesis arms, prosthesis legs. They were out defending our great country, the United States of America? I'm sorry, you got me. I'm still on the board. I love it.
Do you find there are more good young players coming out and joining the tour and competing now?
No question. No question about it, Bob. I would say, let's go back 20 years. We probably had 20%. Today, you got 90%. In the old days, the kids golf was a sissy sport. I used to take my clubs to school on the school bus. Ken Still's a sissy, he plays golf. Well, that turned out wrong.
How does golf differ today? Most sports, because of equipment and training and so forth, have changed very, very much. What about golf?
Big time. Hey, we used to have a couple of beers. These guys go home and watch themselves on their lenses, and well, the golf ball has changed. The shafts have changed, and everything works to the top. So I was at Jack Nicklaus's house last year. I play in his pro-am every year. I said, Jack, I'd like to see you play in your prime with today's equipment. You know what he said? No. Let them play with what we used. Whoa. Now think about that. Let them play with what we used. I mean, they got all the technique. They put these shafts in there and they bobble them up and down. Bob Charles, our great left-hander, won the British Open. He weighs his grips to, if they're an ounce or even a part of an ounce heavier than he wants, he won't use that grip. Now that's getting a little bit much.
You think he can tell when he holds the grip?
I would say no. But I was in there that day when he was changing grips and he put them on the scale. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to make sure every grip weighs the same amount. You're way above my head.
Tell us a little bit about the Fircrest Golf Club. You've been almost a lifelong member of the golf club.
Yes, I've been there since I've had my hat there for 60 years. The club has just been fabulous to me, and I hope I've been fabulous to the club. The relationship's been awesome. The members have treated me great.
You're also a tireless promoter for Tacoma and Pierce County and the surrounding area. Why are you so enthusiastic about that?
Well, I've always been kind of an upbeat guy. Loved sports all my life, and it's my roots. I love my county. I love the people that live here. The support I got when I was playing on the tour was fabulous, and I just love everybody here. And again, First County is my county. I love it.
Lynn and Mark, I'm sorry that Barbara and I can't be with you today. We wanted to be there, but it just couldn't happen. And you know, we lost one of the great guys of all time. He was as good a friend as I've ever had. He played golf on his terms. He lived life on his terms, and he went out on his own terms. And if you can do that, you're a pretty lucky guy. And I go back to the late 60s when Ken and I first met. We played on the Ryder Cup team at Birkdale. We're partners. We had a great time, great fun. Every time we've ever been together, we've had a great time. I know that Ken had aspirations to be a baseball player, and when he started caddying and playing golf, golf became the priority. He turned pro at a young age, a lot younger than I did, and I think he made his way very, very well. He's a guy that every time we had something going on, whether it's Ohio State football or basketball or Washington football or the Seahawks or the Buffalo Bills or Miami Dolphins, whatever it was, Ken was always on your side. He was always there for you and what you did. I remember when Ken called me, and we sort of renewed our friendships where we'd been apart a little bit, but when he called about American Lake and wanting to do our golf course, he called me and said, we're going to do a golf course out here. We want to do another 9 holes. They have 9 holes. Would you be involved? I said, sure, I'll be involved. Well, there was one reason, or 2 reasons actually. One for the veterans. I'm happy to do it because of them. But 2, and the most important one to me was Ken Still. Ken Still wanted me to be there, wanted me to be part of it. And anytime Kenny wanted me to be part of something, I wanted to support him the best I could. Barbara and I, we loved being able to hear that phone ring. And I says, well, it's about that time. Somebody just did something. That'll be Ken Still on the phone. And it was. And we loved the phone calls. But anyway, Kenny was a great guy. I loved him. I know Barbara loved him. Linda, you had a prize for a long time, and he was the best. I know that he really loved the time that you and Mark and I when we went to Augusta and played. We had a great time there. It's sad that we lose anybody, and sad when we lose a loved one or somebody as special as Ken. But I tell you, as I said before, he did it on his terms, and I don't think he has any regrets. I think he's looking down upon us and saying, I hope you're having a great day down there because I'm having a great day up here. He always had a great day. He never had a bad day. And so I loved him. I think he was one of my best friends and a guy I'll never forget, and we'll miss him. And I know you all miss him too, but he's still going to be, he added so much to our lives that we'll never forget him.